This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Top beer, top beer, top beer.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Top Beer End of the Year Edition. This is going to be our sign-off for 2016. This is where Tim and I, by the way, welcome Tim, how are you? Happy New Year.
Oh, I'm fantastic, Adrian. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's December 31st when we're recording this. Obviously, when it comes out, it'll be January already. And we decided that we would basically just pick the beers that we like the most from our past shows, and we would have those as our top beers of the year. Obviously, of those beers, we'll have one winner, one beer to rule them all, as you will. Tim, tell me a little bit about your thought process, because my thought process was like, I'm going to pick the beers that could be my daily drinkers throughout the year. What was your thought process like when you were deciding what your top beers of the year were going to be?
Well, it was a little bit tougher because it's winter out here.
Yeah.
I think. So, not everything that I got earlier in the year or during the summer is available at the stores right now. So that was one thing that I thought about. What am I going to be able to find? So that does play into what can you find all year long, but it also did kind of lend itself to the heavier, darker beers that are still available from shows that we just recently did. So it was kind of a mix of both. It was, what did I really like? What did I know I could find? And what was around is kind of what I ended up with. So, yeah.
And
it's kind of a mixture.
I wanted to run the gamut. There's that word again. Where I'm not just choosing, like, for example, like I'm just IPAs or double IPAs. Like I chose a stout, an IPA, and a Goes. So that I kind of wanted to change up the style as well. Did you find yourself doing the same, or?
Kind of. I mean, I've got a stout. I've got a double IPA, and I've got a black stouts or a black IPA. So,
nice.
So it kind of, there's two IPAs, but I think that they couldn't be any more different from each other, honestly, on the spectrum of IPAs.
Well, we'll see who comes out the victor, if you will.
We will.
All right. So I'll start off, if you don't mind, Tim.
Please do.
My first beer, and this wasn't that long ago either, but this is a beer that when I initially had it on the show, I didn't give it the greatest review, and then as I kept drinking it, I liked it more and more, and I liked it so much that I kept picking it up after the show. So this is the stout I was talking about. This is from Left Hand Brewing out of beautiful Longmont, Colorado. This is the Left Hand Brewing Milk Stout. If you remember this beer, Tim, it's roasted malt and coffee notes build the foundation of this creamy sweet stout. Alcohol 6.0% by volume. So ingredients: Rocky Mountain water, malted barley, lactose. I'm assuming that's where the milk comes from. Flaked oats, hops, and yeast. So this is a really good beer, Tim. You haven't had this one, have you?
Is that the one in the purple?
Yeah.
I've been wanting to try it, but I haven't. That's the sweet stout, right?
Well, exactly. What I like about this stout, Tim, it doesn't ask much of you. You know what I mean? It doesn't expect much of you as the drinker. It just wants you just to enjoy it as a simple, good, homegrown stout. Let me go ahead and give it a sip, shall I?
Let's do it.
So when you drink most stouts, you're hit with like that sort of coffee caramelly flavor that you get. Sometimes you get sort of like a burnt toast flavor in there. This doesn't have that. This has that initial stout flavor without it being too in your face. And you have the added benefit of it having that sort of sweet, creamy milkiness to it. Not crazy. It's not literally like you're drinking a glass of milk, obviously. But because of the lactose that's in it, it adds that to it. And when I initially drank it on the show, it took me a minute or two to really get into it, because I don't know why that is. I don't know. I guess just maybe your palate just isn't primed for it for some reason, and the more you drink it, the better it gets. And that's exactly what I find with this stout. You know what I mean? It's not intimidating like other stouts with their heavy, coffee, creamish, burnt flavor. This doesn't have that. So if you're looking for a year-round stout that's always available, I highly recommend the Left Hand Brewing Milk Stout. So that's my review again of this beer. What do you think, Tim?
Fantastic. Sounds like one that you really enjoy. It's funny because I think it's the left hand, the Back in Black. It's kind of their seasonal winter stout, right? That one.
Back in Black, or was it Fade to Black?
Fade to Black.
Fade
That's
to
it.
Black. Yeah.
Fade to Black. That's the one that I got out here,
That's
and I
a really
really
good
enjoyed.
one. Yeah.
And I was wanting to try the milk stout, but I just didn't do it. So maybe I'll have to grab that next time I'm at the store. I've been really wanting to try it, and the only thing that stopped me is that I think you made a big deal about how much you like the Fade to Black. So it's kind of funny now realizing that that's the one you've been drinking more regularly.
Yeah, and if I had the Fade to Black on the show, I would have picked it, but I never had. But I did have it outside of the show. Yeah, that's why I didn't.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because I wanted to stick with beers we've done on the show. But the Fade to Black though is delicious. It's obviously not a milk stout, but it's a really good stout, and it's probably one of the. I think I told you that's probably one of the better stouts that I've ever had. Period. So. But,
yeah, I really like that one a lot.
Yeah, that one's really good. So what's your first beer?
My first beer is also one that we've had pretty recently on the show. It is the Anchor Steam Porter, actually. I forgot that it was a porter, not a stout, when I was just talking about it right now. So this is from San Francisco. It's obviously a porter. It's from essentially one of America's original craft breweries, one of America's original breweries in general, Anchor, up in San Francisco. It's as we talked about it before, because of the weather in San Francisco, they can kind of do their darker beers usually year round, but they do the porter. They don't do the stout or the barley wine year round. So their porter is actually one of their kind of stock, as I said, year round beers. Meanwhile, the other stuff is not. And to me, Anchor Steam, this is their flagship beer for me personally. I really enjoy it. Super dark but light, not high gravity, but just completely black. In the head, obviously, roasty, caramely, or whatever. Let me see. I forgot what the alcohol is on this. I know that we said it on the episode where it was my beer.
Yeah.
I will pull that up in 2 seconds. It is 5.6% alcohol, so not super crazy. And this was the winner of the porters, so I knew that I really liked it because there was a couple other porters that I'm really a big fan of, and I'm a fan of the style in general. So let me see how this one tastes now.
That's what's nice about stouts and porters, that they're not super, high in ABV. So like you can enjoy several of them and not get like super wasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just to give you the score again on the left-hand milk stout on ratebeer.com, it's a 95.94, so it's a pretty legit beer. How's yours doing, Tim? Tell me more.
Fantastic again, roasty, but really well balanced. It doesn't have that punchiness on the tongue from the kind of over roasted malts or barleys or anything like that. I mean, this is just a nice smooth porter. This is, for me, as someone who doesn't mind drinking, and I know a lot of people aren't into the dark stuff, but for me, I could drink this year round in the same vein as like a Newcastle or, a Nut Brown, like a Sam Smith's Nut Brown or something like that. Like, I think that this is a beer that you could drink year round, unlike a lot of other porters and stouts, just because it's not super full bodied, and it's really well balanced and nice. And again, the light alcohol makes it super sessionable, and this one is overall 99 and style 100. So I mean, again, it's a bang-on porter. It's just very good for what they're doing, and really, really highly recommend this beer in general.
Which brewery is that again?
From Anchor.
And when I was re-listening to the shows to write down the list of beers that we've had, I've noticed that I think you've had like 2 or 3 beers from Anchor.
I have
on this show. That sounds like it's a really good brewery, huh?
Yeah, no, it is, and as I said, they're kind of considered one of America's original craft breweries, and I think I'd have to look into it exactly, but they may actually be one of the first breweries in America, bar none, like just in general. So, they've been around for a long time, and they're definitely do a great job.
Awesome. All right, so that's your first beer. I've had my first beer. I think what we should do now is take a quick little break, listen to some ads from the PTV and Pop Network, and then when we come back, we'll move on to our second beer. How does that sound, Tim?
Sounds fantastic. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Voice of Ring of Honor's Kevin Kelly here. I just want to make sure you're all subscribed to all of our great feeds here at Place to Be Nation. Now, it's really easy to do. Just head to iTunes or your preferred podcatcher app today and search for and subscribe to the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, Place to Be Nation Pop feed, Pro Wrestling Only feed, and of course, the Kevin Kelly Show feed. which includes the full archives of my podcast. Subscribe, listen, and then rate us and leave feedback today. And of course, as always, enjoy all the great action of Ring of Honor Wrestling and everything presented to you on PlaceToBeNation.com.
All right, we're back. Tim, it's the end of the year. Really quick, before we get into the next one, how would you rate this year on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
7 or 8.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I thought it was a good year. I had a lot of fun.
All things
sure,
considered.
some celebrities died.
Yeah.
Sure, we elected a terrible cartoon racist. But, like, my year was pretty good, honestly. I did a lot of cool stuff. Recorded this podcast with you. Drank beers. Went to wrestling shows. Like, I can't complain. I had a good time.
Yeah. See,
How about you, Adrian?
Well, if I had to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, I mean, I would give it I'd give it a 6. 6 or a 7.
Okay.
Which is just, I don't know, what would that be? Slightly above average, I guess you could say.
Yeah, slightly above the middle.
But it's fine. Here's hoping to a better 2017, or a better year next year in 2017, I should say. Okay, so my second beer, Tim. This is a beer that we had not that long ago, and obviously the show we haven't been doing it that long either, so it's going to seem like we haven't had it that long ago. But this is from Odell Brewing Company. I know, Odell. This is their Mercenary Double IPA from our Double IPA episode. This is a beer that is available year-round, and I'm glad it is. Well, at least I think it's available year-round. I'm pretty sure it is, and I'm glad it is. Brewed with a blend of hops containing the highest levels of myrcene, a component of essential oils in the hop flower. This Double IPA prevails with a tropical fruit-like flavor, a pungent floral aroma, and a clean getaway, which, as if you remember, the art on the can is a guy on some kind of motorcycle with the side motorcycle thing attached to it, in a hurry, flying away down the road as a bag of hops, has a bunch of hops flying out of it and stuff. Very whimsical, as I've said before. Do you remember when I drank this beer? Do you remember it all? Do you have any memory of this?
Somewhat.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite beers. Let's go ahead and give it a. Well, actually, I'll give it a smell test first. Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. This is if you like hoppy beers, if you like IPAs, there's no mistaking this for double IPA. As soon as you put the glass close to your mouth and your nose, really nice head on this. It's got a nice light amber color, not like a dark amber, like a light amber,
Mm-hmm.
And let's go ahead and give it a taste really quick. Ooh, that is good. The hops and the floral aroma is strong in this beer, Tim. It really is. It is a double IPA after all. What's the ABV on this? It's actually really a high ABV, I believe. It doesn't say on the can. That's weird. I used to have this out of bottles. I really enjoyed it out of can. 9.3%. That's what it is. 9.3%, Tim. So, actually, I had a couple of these last night after I got home from work, and let's just say I got a little bit tipsy.
Oh.
So
Really?
Yeah. Well, I had 3 of them actually. So that's
Because it came in a 4-pack?
Actually, you know what? I think I've said this before. If you buy it in bottles, it comes in a 4-pack, which is really disappointing. If you buy it in cans, they sell it in cans now. It's in a 6-pack, which is really nice. I don't know why they would even do 4-packs in bottles to begin with. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if you know anything about that as far as the business side of it, but
No, I don't know. I mean, that was the fad. So I think that before canning got popular, the thing was the 4-pack bottles, for the premium beers. So then the can thing kind of came in, and out here the big thing is the tall can 4-pack for the IPAs and stuff. That's what everybody's into, and that's what's really trendy right now.
Right, but is it cheaper
California
to can beer than it is to bottle it? Is that why?
No, I mean, not really. I think you could make an argument that the actual physical cans are cheaper than the bottles, but the processing and stuff I think is pretty equal.
Oh, okay. This has a 98.95 on Rate Beer, so this is obviously a fantastic beer. And I chose it, as I said earlier, I chose it because I know this is a beer that I can get pretty much all the time. And it's the daily drinker of, like, I used to just get Odell's regular IPA, just their straight IPA, which is good. But when I saw this, I'm like, this is more hoppy, this is more floral, this is more stronger. This is stronger anyway. So that's why I chose it to be part of my my final 3 of top beer of the year. Tim, what is your next beer?
My next beer is also from our double IPA episode. It was
Nice.
my winner of that episode from Pizza Port Brewing in Carlsbad, California. This is the Kook, which is based off of, I think, the it's a kind of a surfing term, as it's got the guy who's kind of acting like an asshole surfing, and I think he's supposed to be, he is a kook. I don't know exactly what that means in surfing, if it means that you're crazy or that you're a dick, but it looks like he's kind of being a dick and being crazy.
I just love
Right
the
in the
name,
ridge
by
there.
the way. Pizza Port, like.
Pizza Port is pretty great. Pizza Port also, in spite of their kind of hilariously stupid name, is known for being really good and making really good IPAs and really good beers in general.
That honestly sounds like something a middle schooler would name their brewing company.
Exactly. And like, it's so funny, but I mean, their brewers have gone on, a lot of their brewmasters have gone on to open their own places that are also highly touted, and it's a good brewery. It just bad name. This kind of stuff happens, guys. Like, there is a lot of breweries with bad art on their cans, bad names for their or for their breweries, bad names for their beers. It happens. So just don't blame them for that. Just give them a try, anyways. And,
in our Lucha Undead episode with Hugh Little, he said that he's like, I've had beers with terrible art, but they were delicious, and vice versa. And he's
exactly.
Right. He's right. So
it's tough.
Remind me about your beer. How's it look? How's it taste? How's
Okay,
it
so
smell?
my beer is a little bit less strong than yours. It's a 9.75 ABV. It is in a tall can. It is bright yellow, clean and crisp. It's very California IPA. Foamy, kind of slightly off eggshell white.
Mm-hmm.
Very floral, not really hop forward in the nose, but very floral. It's pretty effervescent, honestly, here.
What do you mean when you say effervescent? I've heard you use that word before.
It means it kind of bubbles.
Oh, okay.
It's not as still.
So you're talking about the carbonation?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the carbonation, the smaller bubbles, and it will bubble a little bit more. That's the effervescent kind of thing. Again, it's pretty yellowy. I would say it twinges maybe slightly orange amber, but not really. It's pretty much straight yellow, clean and crisp. The California IPA is known for being super clean, super bright, and I think it's funny because the hazy IPA is popular, as everyone knows, but the California IPA makers are kind of proud of their crispness and their cleanness, and some of them take offense to that. They say, we could make our beers unfiltered and big and juicy, just like the New England IPAs, but they don't have to be hazy and look like orange juice. I've heard a lot of California brewers talk about that and complain because they say, I don't filter my beer anyways. Like, people, they try to put out the like unfiltered, like that's why it looks like that, and it's kind of like, well, no, but there's a lot of really good brewers in California who can make an IPA for you. It is unfiltered as well, and it still has that bright, clean look. So it's just it just has to do with how much time it spends in the bright tank, I guess.
Yeah, and
as they say.
And the thing is about filtering, which I learned about in our Birth at Brewing episode that I did not so long ago. It's fine if you do it or don't do it, but what I hate is when it becomes like a marketing thing. Like, there's an episode of Mad Men where they discuss with the cigarette company, how do we turn things around with cigarettes and make people want to buy them again? Oh, our cigarettes are toasted. Well, everyone toasts. No, you guys toast your cigarettes. Other cigarette companies aren't going to say that. You're going to say that. It's like a marketing gimmick thing. Like, I get you have to do it to market your product and make it more appealing, but it's like, I just hate when it's done for such a gimmicky thing. You know what I mean? But
exactly.
I don't know.
As you said, stuff like that where that's the way everybody does it. But they try to market it like theirs is special because of it.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to start. I got to drink this bad boy, I guess. That's the most important part of beer. Yeah, I mean, that is... Ooh, it almost puckers a little bit. It's got the Citra, kind of a little bit of the more musky, piney hops and less of the kind of juicy floral, or not floral, but fruity hops.
What's
but
the
still
heat
got
like
some,
on that bad boy,
of course,
by the way?
Citra.
I'm curious.
What do you mean?
Like the alcoholic heat you get from it.
Not much, honestly. It's all hops. This thing, all you taste is hops.
Okay, that's good. Because when I first drank the Mercenary, I was like, oh, this has some strong alcohol heat, but it's actually not that bad. Once you get used to it, like you don't even really notice it. So,
No, this one, it's definitely super bitter. You feel it in the back of your tongue 100%. It's, like I said, piney and musky and a little bit of citra, a little citrusy, maybe some lemon peel, but nothing like super strong in those regards. Mostly on the piney or muskier, really bitter end. Almost like kind of puckers your mouth with the bitterness. The score on it for the overall 98, for the style 92. I could definitely see that because I think for me a double IPA I would like a little bit more kind of balance of all the hop flavors, and this one feels like really very. I mean, they say that they've got Dorado, melon, Amarillo, and Chinook, and then a CTZ hop, which I guess would probably be one of the experimental hops. But really, for me, all that's coming through mostly is the Amarillo, maybe the Chinook, which is definitely the older kind of piney hops, and even the Dorado doesn't come through for me. What comes through the most is the Amarillo and the Chinook, which is really older style hops at this point that aren't even getting used that much in the kind of trendier IPAs. So this is just kind of more of the original school of big hop flavor, like California IPAs. So I can definitely see why it's a little bit lower on the style profile.
Yeah. That beer sounds really good. I mean, you sold it to me. I'll have to look out for it out here in Denver, and if not, I'll have to try it whenever I'm.
Yeah, look for Pizza Port. It comes in 4-pack or cans of like tall boy cans usually. And a lot of places will let you can buy them single, obviously, instead of in the 4-pack. And most of their beers are pretty good, even their ambers, all their other stuff. But it's definitely got an old school looking art design. It looks kind of like maybe like a Sega Genesis video game. A lot of the times is what the art looks like on just a basic can. So I definitely say check them out, and if you see it anywhere, just go for it.
Yeah. What's nice about Rape Beer, by the way, is that you can look up. Okay, so what's yours is called the Pizza Port. What again? Pizza Port.
Kook
with a Kook.
Yeah.
So what's nice about Rape Beer is that you can look up a beer, and I don't know why you have to register to basically unlock this feature, which is why I did it. But if you register with Rape Beer and you look up a beer, you can actually look up where it's sold, and it'll tell you state by state or country by country.
Nice.
And when I look up, it's not showing up. Oh, there it is. So yeah, you go to locate sellers. Let's see if it's available in Colorado, because I'm actually curious about that one. Let's see here. Obviously, California. Oh, it's only sold in California. It's not
interesting.
I mean, it's sold in like other countries, but like it tells you the countries it's sold in. As far as states, though, only California comes up. That's weird.
That is weird.
So I will have to try it the next time I'm out in California, because apparently it's not sold here. Interesting.
I guess so.
All right, Tim. So, what do you think? We take one more break, or a second break, I should say, and when we come back, we will try our third and final beer to wrap up the year for our top of beer episode.
Let's do it.
Awesome.
Placement Nation's JT Rosero here, and I want to let you know that we have a ton of great podcasts available to you on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlacementNation.com, and we offer them to you across 2 great feeds. On the Placement Nation Wrestling feed, you can check out Scott Criscolo and me on the Mothership, the Place to Be podcast, with our famous Vintage Vault pay-per-view reviews. PT Man also covers current-day wrestling with the smash hit Clotheslines and Headlines, our steady veteran main event, and the beloved monthly pay-per-view reaction shows with immediate feedback on all Pro Wrestling Super Shows. Relive wrestling's past with our monthly pay-per-view rewind series led by Ben Morse, the always contentious Dangerous Alliance podcast, and Survey Says, a fun look back at the good, bad, and ugly of WCW. On our very popular Placement Nation Pop podcast feed, we offer such great shows as the Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Rank and File, NBA Team, Lucha Undead, Geek and Sassy, and a veritable podcast heaven for comic fans with hard-traveling fanboys, Sellers Points, Todd Weber's Conversation, and Imaginary Stories. Subscribe to both of those feeds on iTunes and rate and leave feedback for us as well. All of these shows plus others available at PlayStation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus tournaments and more. Be sure to support our site by using PlayStation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping, and download our free Place to Be Vintage Vault Refresh ebooks via the links on the right-hand side of our site. We also want to thank our friends at Bonehead's Wing Bar in West Warwick, Rhode Island, and Fall River, Massachusetts, TheHistoryOfWrestling.com, and Scott Keats' Blog of Doom. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr as well. PlayStation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
All right, we're back. Tim, third beer of the year. No, I'm trying to just rhyme beer with year as much as I can, but I think I'm overdoing it. Anyway, Tim, you may remember this beer. I had it on our Ghost episode. Or is it Goza? No, we're gonna stick with Ghost, right? As we decided.
That's my thing. Fuck Goza. That's a dumb way to say it.
Sierra Nevada.
It doesn't even sound right for like a German word.
No,
it's supposed to be German, right?
It is German, I think. You're
yeah.
Right. Ghost and Kolsch and all that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways.
Sierra Nevada's Otra Vez. I said it with Spanish accent. There you go. This is a Ghost by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. I'll read you the commercial description. Otra vez means another time. I thought it actually meant again, actually, but I guess according to them it means another time. And I guess it depends on the context, on the context in which you're saying it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And for Sierra Nevada, that time is early California when beers were made from local ingredients. The brewery trialed various native products, searching for great flavors. Prickly pear cactus flourishes in the state's arid deserts, and grapefruit fills the Central Valley's flats. Together, their fruity, tangy blend make Otra Vez, whose tartness is true to the Ghost style, pop with character. So, when I initially tried this, I was like, "Oh, this is supposed to have like a little bit of cactus in it," and I didn't taste the cactus. And then, as the more I drank it, the more I realized, "Oh, there's the cactus flavor." and honestly, it sets it apart from the other Ghosts that we tried. So let me go ahead and give that a sip. What I like about Ghost is this one in particular. I like the sort of the fizziness of it, and the sort of a saltiness to it. Do you know what I mean? Not like literal saltiness, but it kind of has like the texture of saltiness, if you will. And
yes.
The grapefruit. I think as I said this before, grapefruit doesn't. I don't really get that too much, but the cactus is definitely there, and the cactus is what I think sort of sets it apart from the other Ghosts that I had on this show. And I really like this beer. It's you know, I don't really drink Sierra Nevada too much, but I went with the Ghost because I wanted to run the gamut between, you know, beers that I could find all the time, that I could drink all the time. There are different, you know, types, and this is why this one made my finalist for the top beers of the year. Let me go ahead and give you the score for that, Tim, if you don't mind, on Rate Beer. It is an 81 over 64. So 81 overall score, 64 for the style. So it's not the best Ghost out there, and I had a pretty good one when we did the Ghost episode. But this is the one that I could drink regularly. This is one that's available regularly. This is one that won't break the bank, because the other ones I had, I remember they were like one of them was like a big fancy bottle of Ghost, if I remember correctly. They cost like $15 or something. But this, you can buy individual cans at the liquor store I go to for like $1 or something, or you can buy it when you make your own 6-pack at the other a liquor store that I go to as well. So it's nice to be able to do that. And that's my Sierra Nevada Ultra Vest, which I think have you had this one, or no? You had the El Ghost from.
No, I had that one.
Oh, you've
I've
had this
both.
one too. Okay, good.
I like that one the most, I think, out of probably what you would call the readily commercially available ones.
Yeah. So you understand why I would choose it, right? So you get that.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I would have if I had, and I think I might have had that on the Goes episode as well, but it wasn't my winner, so I didn't want to bring it back, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But if I could have, I probably would have, because I mean that's one that, again, you can get it year round now. I see that in the store constantly, which is great.
Yeah.
And it kind of brings a little bit of the summer, even in the winter, kind of with the flavor.
I think that's what we talked about in that episode, was that this is like this kind of a beer in general is a beer you could really enjoy during the summer. You know what I mean? Because it's I think I said it's like it's almost like drinking the margarita of beers, but not really, because it doesn't have the strong sweet flavors of margarita. But it's something along those, like something in the same vein as that. You know, and like the saltiness and stuff.
Totally.
How refreshing it is and all that. You know. So, all right. Well, what is your third and final beer, Tim?
So my third and final beer of the year, this is the final beer of 2016, is the Back in Black IPA from 21st Amendment Brewing in San Francisco, California. And I noticed that all my beers are from California.
All your beers are from California. That's true.
2 from San Francisco, 1 from Carlsbad, San Diego area. So I stayed local. I don't know if you did as well. Sierra Nevada,
They're California, Chico, California, according to Ray.
Yeah.
Beer. So my other 2 beers were Colorado beers. So there you go.
So we're both kind of staying local, but also California representing for sure.
Really quick, I'll let you finish. I'll bring this up in a bit. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So 21st Amendment is great. All their stuff is kind of colonially reminiscent, as this one has I think it's supposed to be, who's the guy who rode on the horse to let people know that
the British
were coming?
Paul Bunyan?
Paul Revere.
Paul Revere. Who's
You're
Paul
close,
Bunyan?
Paul Bunyan is a famous giant lumberjack of fictitious origins.
I feel like he's more realistic than Paul Revere, but go ahead.
Yes, even though Paul Revere was a real person. But this Paul Revere on the can, you can kind of barely make it out because everything is so dark on the can, but he's not on a horse. He's on a mean hog, buddy. He's riding a motorcycle because he's a cool Paul Revere. No, I don't know why. It's such a weird thing for them to tack on. But
is he really on a?
Yeah, he's on a motorcycle. I don't know why. It's so weird.
Wow. So he's a more modernized Paul Revere.
Yes, but yeah, it says American IPA brewed with rich dark malts. It's 6.8% alcohol, 65 IBU, kind of low for an IPA. Yeah. We're perfectly honest with ourselves here.
International bitterness units. I remembered that.
Yes, you do. Pours just about the same color as that port. It's pretty interesting to see a IPA so dark. But the head is a little bit more eggshell and not as tan as on the port, so you can definitely see the difference in that regard. Let's see how it smells.
And that's a black IPA or her?
Yeah, black IPA. Rich kind of coffee flavors in the nose, or coffee scents, I guess. Really interesting that it's. I mean, this smells more like a stout or a porter than the porter that I was drinking, or kind of what you expect from a
It's so
porter.
weird when that's like a thing where it's like it smells and tastes more like a different thing than
Right.
You know, that makes sense. How's that tasting?
Yeah, but you taste it, the maltiness and if there is any coffee notes in the flavor, they barely come through, and they're kind of more balanced out with the hops. Not super bitter like the last one. Doesn't really kind of pucker the mouth, and definitely more of just the straight up kind of subtle. Again, like I said, the muskier, pinier hops, but they're kind of mellowed out with the malt flavor in there, so it's kind of smooth. It says newest to their year-round beer, available in 6-packs. This is good. This is solidly good beer, and it kind of runs in between the 2 beers I just drank, and it actually has a nice balance of the 2, which is nice for if you were gonna do a year-round drinker, and you're someone like me who is into the bitter both ways, like not just the hop bitter but also the roasted bitter. This is gonna definitely be right up your alley. This is actually a phenomenal beer. I don't even remember it being as good as it is.
Did you give the score on that yet?
The rate beer score is overall 91, style 73. I find that style interesting. I guess maybe because they expect IPA, they expect it to be a lot more hop forward, and this is not. But it's a black IPA, so to me, I think that they did a really good job of black IPA, but I can understand why others think IPA. They think hop bitterness. They don't really want to bother with the fact that this does a great job of layering the hop bitterness also with the kind of rich roasty malt bitterness as well. Yeah,
and that's why I had the Mountain Standard double IPA or Mountain Standard black IPA from Odell recently, and that one is more hop forward from what it sounds like from what you're drinking, and I think that's probably why that one had a better score on rate beer if I remember than what you're drinking right now. So. That's interesting that you say that because, I mean, you're probably right about that. But that was a really good beer, and yours sounds good too. All right, so that's your third beer, huh? That was your third finalist for the year, eh?
That's it.
Awesome. All right, team. Well, when we come back, we're going to do some quick brews in the news, a little bit of quick house cleaning, and of course, as always, Tim, we have to do our top beer of the year. Sound good?
It sounds great.
The PWO PTBN feed has changed its name, now it will be known simply as Pro Wrestling Only, so it should be easier to find and indeed to say. All of your favourite shows are still here, including Where the Big Boys Play, Letters from Kayfabe, Titans of Wrestling, Tag Teams Back Again, This Week in Wrestling, and many, many more, including our full archives of tremendous content. So make sure you subscribe to the Pro Wrestling Only feed today.
Okay, team, we're back. So really quick, I want to do a quick brews in the news segment. If you don't
News about the brews.
news about the brews.
Brews with the. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of what's a clever name for the news, beer news.
Beer in the I think brews in the news sounds like the best to me.
Yeah,
So this is from the Wall Street Journal, which I know you read regularly, Tim.
I do.
What craft beers want to tap next? The taxpayer. Trendy suds are seen as a way to save city centers. Never mind that beer sales have been sliding for years. This was published December 30th, 2016, so yesterday, as of this recording.
It says beer sales have been sliding for years.
Let me get into it, and you'll see.
Yeah, let's see what the hell these people are talking about.
There's no denying that craft beer has turned into a big business. While urban sophisticates quaff double-barrel IPAs with hints of tangerine, city officials around the country may be drinking a more pedestrian beverage, the Kool-Aid. From coast to coast, urban planners are increasingly looking to craft breweries as a magic elixir to renew struggling urban cores. 2 years ago, Richmond, Virginia put up $33 million in public money and incentives to entice Stone Brewing to build a retail store, tasting room, and East Coast distribution center. Shortly thereafter, the state of Virginia extended $1 million in grants and $1 million in matching tax credits to help Hardywood Park Craft Brewery expand into an office park in Goochland County. Goochland County. The Richmond Times-Dispatch reported at the time that Virginia had specifically targeted craft beverages as part of the state's economic development strategy. Not to be outdone, the city council in Knoxville, Tennessee voted this fall to repeal an ordinance keeping bars at least 300 feet from churches. Oh, boo-hoo. Around the same time, a local...
Yeah, that's a weird...
That's me.
That's a weird one.
That's me editorializing, by the way. Around the same time, a local developer began eyeing a former Baptist church with plans to convert it to a brewery and hotel. In St. Louis, a developer is seeking 15 years of tax abatements to refurbish an abandoned armory into a hotel office complex, including a craft brewery. Meantime, Memphis, Tennessee is encouraging favorite son Wiseacre Brewing to examine the vacant Mid-South Coliseum as a possible expansion site. What's a tax... Oh, what was it? A tax abatement. What is that?
I'm going to guess it's just you kind of hold off paying it until you actually start turning a profit.
Oh, okay. Small towns are getting in on the action. At a meeting in November, the City Council of Florence, South Carolina, population 38,000, approved an incentive package totaling $180,000 to encourage a craft brewery to set up shop beside Town Hall. The month before that, the City Council of Reidsville, North Carolina, population 14,000, voted to sell a city-owned building for $1 to start a brewing co-op in Tiny Perry, New York, population 4,000. Oh, no, sorry. I missed the period there. In Perry, New York, population 4,000, a public development corporation matched bank financing this year to help a microbrewery build in its downtown. This strategy might work for a while, but it suffers from the same drawback as other attempts at public investment, quote-unquote. Government isn't particularly good at picking assets or knowing when to get in and when to get out. Don't expect city officials to recognize it or to turn off the tap of taxpayer money when the craft beer bubble seems ready to pop. Seems ready to pop, it says, Tim. Let's see. It goes on really quick. The Brewers Association defines a craft brewery as an independent beer producer that makes fewer than 6 million barrels a year. For sheer saturation, there is no greater laboratory for the concept, and this is the most interesting part to me, Tim, than San Diego, California. Leads the nation with 518 active breweries, according to the Brewers Association, as of June of 2014, according to state figures. 108 of those were in San Diego County. Los Angeles County, with more than 3 times the population, was a distant second with 43. The boom has taken place over only a handful of years between 93 and 2009. Insurance of brewery licenses was near zero in San Diego County, but since then, the tap handles have proliferated. In 2010, 7 licenses were granted. The following year, 15 were issued, then 18 the year after that. The same trend holds nationwide. By 2014, as the chief economist for the Brewers Association, Bart Watson, has written, more than half of all brewing facilities in the U.S. were microbreweries. This changes slowly but surely what beer drinkers throw back, since many craft brands have limited, often casual distribution, and implies a lopsided dependence on local customers, often those physically present at the brewery. So what do you think so far about that?
I don't really get this attack that they're having towards craft brewing as if it's not still hot. They're trying to make it out like beer is just not cool anymore and it's not hip and in. And it's like, I don't know about you, but where I'm at, I mean, I think we're both in pretty hot craft beer areas.
Yeah.
And I know that there's for sure a few casualties that you hear about, but for the most part, it feels like business is still picking up and craft brewing is still pretty popular even right now.
And it goes on to say that, but here's the rub. Demand for beer overall has been sliding in the U.S., so it's funny that you say that. For years, 20 years ago, nearly 3/4 of young people said it was their favorite alcoholic drink, according to surveys by Gallup and Goldman Sachs Investor Research. Less than half feel that way now. The market is shrinking, and craft beer has grown at the expense of national brands like Budweiser, Miller, and Coors. But how long can the trend continue, particularly given that upstart brewers are also cannibalizing market share from more established craft houses like Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada, and New Belgium? These are open questions. There are signs, however, that craft brewing is being driven by what a late-night drinker might call irrational exuberance. If private investors alone were sidling up to the bar to throw down the cash, this might not be any public concern. But in many cases, they're dragging taxpayers along for the bender. And when it comes, the hangover. So that's it. That's from the Wall Street Journal.
Okay. I mean, I guess I get where they're coming from, but realistically, I don't know if I buy into it. Now, the thing is that they may be correct, but they also may be skewing statistics here because from everything I've heard, beer consumption is down per volume, but if you compare it to price, I don't know if that's actually the case. So what I've heard said is that a lot of the craft beer, people are buying less of it, but it's at a higher price. And it's higher, a lot of times higher alcohol. And so realistically, they might be spending the same dollar amount on beer. They're just buying less of it because they're not just buying big inflated large, packs of Budweiser and Bud Light and all this just to drink a bunch all night. And they're having fewer beers, but they're sipping and enjoying something that's a more finely crafted beer that, as again, artisanal, costs more, isn't about like an arms race of who can sell you the most beer at the cheapest price.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of an interesting thing to note, and I'd love to know their exact numbers as they're basing it on that demand is down. Are they basing that solely on volume of beer, or are they basing that on the amount of money being spent on beer?
Yeah. I mean, I'll tweet the article out, and then you can check it out. They have some sources there. Yeah, I don't know. It does seem strange to me that they're basically saying like there's a craft beer bubble and what's going to happen when it pops, if and when it does pop. So
I think that there most certainly is a craft beer bubble, and I definitely agree with that. And I think that it will pop, but I think that there's also a base. So there is a bubble that will pop, and then you won't see, because I mean, right now, if you go to craft breweries, you see a really mixed crowd of pretty much everybody, all different walks of life there. And they're filling the place up and, having a good time and buying a bunch of beers, and they like everything and they're trying all this new stuff. I think when it pops, though, I don't know how much it will really retract, because there's still the base of guys like you and me who are going to still be into beer. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to stop drinking good beer because it's not trendy anymore. And so
Absolutely
I just think that sure, there's a bubble, and it might even make it harder to find good beers, but that's not going to make me not hunt it out more. I mean, geez, there's definitely some arguments, and there is some stuff that the industry itself is doing that's kind of going to foster negativity within the bubble, which is stuff like the limited can releases, because I mean, out here it's a big deal with the gigantic lines of people starting out early. Early the night before, they're already in line for 4 packs of IPAs that they're going to get the next day, and that kind of stuff. The breweries should really be working on going against that rather than going towards it, and some of them seem to embrace it and enjoy it. But I mean, even Monkish out here, who's kind of famously the biggest one for this, where people are waiting in line for hours at a time to buy 4 packs of IPAs that are one-off things from them because they don't do IPAs regularly because they're a Belgian-style brewery. But they also said that, this new kind of trend with people waiting in line, willing to pay these prices to buy these cans, has also helped them purchase their own canning system. So if they're smart and they're now putting that into, well, what we're going to do is have cans be even more available, then they're growing in a proper way. As they start to release more cans, they can actually kind of find that median where demand and supply are equal, instead of having it right now where there's more demand than there is supply, and you're having people waiting out in the rain to get beers. So yeah, I mean, I get where they're coming from. I think the idea that the taxpayers footing the bill is a little weird. I mean, to me, it's a little wonky to say. I mean, it sounds like a lot of them are just asking for credits and stuff for opening small businesses that you give to any business, not necessarily beer, and craft beers particularly. I think a lot of businesses get tax credits and incentives to open businesses, and it's a weird skew to attack, breweries in particular here, especially because I find that I think breweries are pretty good business. I mean, a lot of the breweries that me and you frequent regularly are even like cooperative breweries, and then are owned by the same people who work there. There's a few of them that I know of, and
there's Belgium is one of them, I think.
Yeah, and there's like all solar powered breweries, and I think it's really interesting to be like
Valley, who we both had beers from them on the show. I think is a solar powered brewery.
Yeah, so it's like, how are you, it's kind of a weird attack to make. I think breweries, for the most part, especially craft breweries in 2016, are pretty forward-thinking about being good places for the community and less about kind of taking from the government. So it's a weird tact to attack them. But I think it's a good story. I would definitely, personally, as I said, I would check out the sources there, because you can easily skew statistics whatever way you want to kind of sound like, oh, the bubble's bursting, when realistically, again, as I said, if we look at, amount of dollars spent per capita might be up. It might just be purely volume of beer being sold is what's down.
Yeah, and it is amazing, really quick, not to get too political, like you can skew to I can't talk tonight. You can skew statistics to make your point, like, what's the thing they say? Oh, black people make up most of the prison population in America, but they're only 12% of the population. Well, black people also get arrested more for drugs, even though statistically they do less drugs than anybody else. So is that, and that has more to do with like the problem of just racist laws that for some reason always target minorities. I mean, if you really want to go down that route, And as far as taxpayers footing the bill for stuff, I mean, that's par for the course, isn't it? We foot the bill for professional sports stadiums and security at Trump Tower. So
yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's nothing new, right? Like having to pay for shit.
And when there isn't the Affordable Health Care Act, the taxpayers are the ones footing the bill for everyone's health care that doesn't have insurance. It's like we're constantly footing the bill for everything. The taxpayers are just people, and people are always paying for everything, right? That's just how it works.
Yeah. And I bet you the amount of money that taxpayers foot the bill for when it comes to breweries is a drop in the huge bucket when it comes to everything else.
It is just a taster in the cast, my friend.
I like that. Okay, Tim, so that was our Brews in the News. As far as house cleaning goes, I wanted to talk about, I got a pretty cool Christmas gift this Christmas from my wife-to-be. She gave me a cool wood board thing that has like holes in it for bottle caps, so you can start putting like the bottle caps of beers that you've drank in it, and that's really cool. I'll take a picture of that and put that on Twitter. So that's my beer-related gift that I got over Christmas, and I really love it. As well as this nifty office chair that I'm sitting in right now, because I think I've told you before, I normally record this podcast. If it's not on my couch, it's on my kitchen table, and our kitchen chairs are really uncomfortable after a while. Nice. Here I am sitting in my brand new office chair, and my butt doesn't hurt, so that's good.
Hey!
Another thing I wanted to tell you, Tim, I had if you remember from our black style episode, I had the Baba Black Lager, which I think you had as well.
I did.
And I had one beer of those left over from months ago, right? That was months ago, and I had one beer in the fridge, and I was like, fuck it, I'm just going to drink this, right? and I drank it, and I realized, holy shit, it makes sense that this is a black lager. Like, I can taste the lager flavor, but it's not lager because it's got like the dark, it's the dark style beer and stuff, and it has those other flavors. And I think my point is I enjoyed it more trying it, after all this time drinking it again. Made me enjoy it even more than I did the first time I drank it. So I guess you could say my taste evolved a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you were able to taste the layering and the different things that made that unique, that it is a black lager, but it's still a lager at its core, right?
Exactly. Okay, Tim. So I think this is the part of the show that everybody's been waiting for, Tim. I think you're ready for it.
I'm ready for it.
This is the part where we announce our top beer of the year. Okay, Tim, I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. So
before you do that, really quick, are you ready for this? Really quick, I'm gonna add more production value to our show. Here we go.
Ooh.
Sorry if that was too loud.
Wow.
I got a sound machine for $5 at Marshall's the other day.
Fantastic. It wasn't too loud. It was perfect.
I didn't blow your eardrums? Okay, good.
No. All right. So to fit with 2016, I think it's only right that the top beer of the year is the Back in Black IPA from 21st Amendment out here in beautiful San Francisco, California.
Nice.
Their colonial, again, revolutionary art design and themes kind of fit with the times, as we may or may not be entering into a tyrannical form of government that maybe we need to rebel against. But on top of that, the beer itself is phenomenal. And retrying it now compared to these other two, I think I did this on accident. I didn't even plan it, but it does really kind of traverse the area in between the two other beers that I picked out with the porter and the double IPA. This black, it does the dark roasty coffee kind of malty thing better than the Anchor Porter, and it does the IPA thing for me better than the double IPA and the Kook. So I think that it balances both really well. It achieves both super well. So this beer overall is just fantastic. So I think that this is my beer of the year. And you know what? It's not a beer that I would think to just grab a 6-pack of and have as a regular drinker. And now I need to maybe stop and think about that because I probably should. I really enjoy this beer quite a bit.
Awesome. So that's your top beer of the year. Fantastic. And it's funny that it's an IPA, Tim. Are you ready for my top beer of the year?
I am.
All right, here we go. Wow. Okay. My top beer of the year is a Mercenary Double IPA, Tim. This is a fantastic beer. It is one of my favorites, if not, the favorite IPA that I've ever drank, especially when it comes to double IPAs. It's from my favorite brewery out here in Colorado, probably my favorite brewery in general. This is a beer that's available year-round. You can drink it year-round. You can enjoy it year-round. And when I want to just stop by the liquor store after work on a Friday night, coming home from work, and I want to get my beer that I'm going to enjoy over the weekend, I'm going to choose this one. It's going to be my go-to. Obviously I'll change it up every now and then, but when it comes to regularly choosing or deciding what beer to drink, it's got to be the Mercenary. You know what I mean? Just like the guy in the can, I have to get away with it because it's just not good of a beer. You know what I mean? And that's really all I have to say about that, Tim. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hired gun, right? That's the whole point of a mercenary. So you get in there, you get it. It gets the job done. It may do it with some Blackwater-esque tactics that may or may not fit within the bounds of the Constitution, which does fit into my 21st Amendment to the Constitution brewing here. So, both of our beers have a little, maybe a little bit too much of a modern political climate twinge to them, if you will. But that's kind of underrated and I think understated, especially on this show. And I think it's something that we should probably – it's good that we did this episode. And, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit for the people at home. I was probably more against doing this episode than you were. This was your brainchild to do a kind of best of collection for the end of the year. But it makes sense now that we did it because I think this show focuses a lot on trying different things, getting out there and expanding your taste buds. And, becoming buds with your taste buds, if you will. But at the same time, how nice is it to know that you can go to the store and there's a 6-pack that you can just grab off the shelf that you know is always going to hit the spot. And I think you did a good job of pulling out some beers that definitely do that. I think the Otravess is a great definite. Just grab it. Don't have to worry about getting too drunk if you got to work the next day or do something early the next morning, because it's low alcohol but packs a lot of flavor into that punch. The Mercenary, higher alcohol but definitely balanced, tastes great. And then for me, the Black IPA, I think lower mid-range alcohol, definitely has a lot of robust flavors. I think it's definitely tougher if you're trying to pair this with dinner, but I think if you're just trying to have a beer, this is it. The porter, obviously, I think was really well balanced in a way where you could have it with almost any meal, except for maybe I wouldn't go like maybe, I don't know, fish or something really light like that. I definitely think it would overpower any kind of flavor there. But anything else, realistically, I think you could go for with that. The double IPA I got maybe doesn't fit the spirit of this, and maybe that's where I messed up, is I didn't understand the spirit of this episode. But when it comes down to it, you should have your year-round beers that you can enjoy that will pick you up, kind of that comfort food in a glass that no matter what, you know what beer it is, and that it's going to hit that spot when you want it, and you don't have to feel judged by your beer. I like
Right.
we were talking about, it just wants you to enjoy it. It just wants you to drink it, and that's really what your daily drinker is all about.
Yeah, I feel like the beers I chose, it's the wife you come home to, and the other beers are just the mistresses. You know what I mean?
That's it.
Not to put it in sleazy terms, I would never cheat, but I'm just saying.
No, of course.
Hey,
you know what?
That's a great analogy.
It's a great analogy, especially for me and you, because I think both of us the idea of doing something like that in real life would never cross our minds. But I do like the idea of going on a textural, I guess a oral fling, or just a brewed fling, going for different breweries, different beers, and trying them out and all that. Because you know what, it is nice to spice things up. Maybe it's not in the bedroom, but it's in the brew pub.
Exactly, and a really quick honorable mention to Anderson Valley's GT Ghost, which I had on our Ghost episode.
Yes.
That was a great one. My top beer for that episode was the Stillwater Artisanal Ghost Gone Wild, and you had the Anderson Valley Briny Melon Ghost.
Oh yeah, and if I was gonna pick my favorite goes, it's that Briny Melon. I love that thing.
And another honorable mention for me is the Black IPA by Odell's, which is my top beer in our winter/seasonal beers episode. And also the Anderson Valley Salted Caramel Bourbon Barrel Aged Porter in our Porter episode. That there's an honorable mention for that. And also it's funny that I chose my top beer of the year to be the Odell Mercenary Double IPA, because in the Double IPA episode, Avery's Raja Double IPA was my top beer of that episode. But I went with this one because I just realized this is the one I'm going to realistically buy all the time. So it's interesting that I actually chose the Avery Raja Double IPA as my top beer for that episode. But yeah, so there's some honorable mentions. Do you have any honorable mentions you want to throw out really quick?
Yeah, the half acre Akira, the Shogun wheat beer was my top beer for the wheat beer. It was really good, and I would have loved to have brought that one back for this, but because Half Acre is out of Chicago and it's really a hard beer to get your hands on in general here in California, just wasn't available for me to get one again here. You already mentioned the Briny Melon, which is definitely a go-to, and another one where the only reason why it didn't come back is just availability was the Uinta Cucumber Farmhouse Saison.
Yeah.
That was a special released only in the brewery, which you are aware Uinta is out of Utah, so there was not really a good chance of me going all the way out to Utah to get my hands on that. A good friend of mine who works in the biz, he does the distribution of beers professionally, gave me that bottle. I really appreciated it quite a bit from him because I really enjoyed that beer. So I would definitely say if you happen to be in Utah, which maybe, I mean, there's some craft beer scene out there. I don't know if you went to, they're still in Utah, but if you can get your hands on that one, it's real good. So I recommend that one quite a bit.
Yeah, Uinta is really good. Wasatch Brewing, which I don't think I've actually had any Wasatch beers on this show. I think I may have done one on one of our shot episodes. Wasatch is a fantastic brewery. I actually had their White Rider Ghost Rider White IPA recently. That was delicious. Their peach, what is it? Their peach something. They have a peach. Hefeweizen. That is a delicious beer as well. So yeah, there's good beers out of Utah. People won't believe. Probably sounds crazy when you say it, but there's actually some really good beers out of Utah, believe it or not. But
yeah,
I'm
even
glad
Epic.
you've tried
who
Uinta.
I think,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I love Uinta, and they're more readily available out here in California now. So you can get a lot of the other beers like the Baba Black Lager I see everywhere. Their double IPA, I don't know what it's called, but it has a picture of a little like trailer camper, like a camper trailer on it that's really good. There's the Hop Nosh Tangerine IPA that's really good. It might be orange. It's tangerine or orange IPA that's fantastic. So Uinta, I mean, the thing about those Utah brewings, and I was going to say Epic as well, who was in Utah and moved to Colorado, to Denver. The thing about those Utah brewers is because they couldn't get involved in the kind of alcohol arms race where you just kind of pump up the alcohol per volume of the beer to compete. They actually had to work on brewing the beers to be flavorful and tasty. Kind of novel concept when the craft beer scene was starting out. To really sort of build this bubble in the early 2000s. A lot of it was all about packing the most alcohol for the punch. And then now, as you settle back and you go, listen, I'm not trying to always get super blitzed or, get fucking drunk off my ass. I want stuff that tastes good. Well, hey, look at this. The Uinta are able to make these session beers that all have amazing flavor and, layer different cool concepts. So again, it's kind of, an interesting little area to tap into when you talk about Wasatch and Uinta and even Epic, who now that they're not in Utah still are kind of bringing that Utah flavor to Colorado even.
Well, and the thing is, even if they wanted to make super strong beers, they couldn't because of Utah's liquor laws.
Exactly.
They have there's a cap for how strong you can make a beer. And it's funny because the beers you buy in the grocery stores in Utah are actually watered down more than the ones you buy from the state liquor stores. So if you buy beer from a grocery store, it's going to be less of an ABV than if you bought it from one of the state-run liquor stores. And the state-run liquor stores also have a cap for how strong you can make it. So I had coworkers that would go cross state lines to buy stronger beer, and bring it back into Utah, believe it or not. So, but they have great beers regardless of all that. So you're right about that. Okay, Tim. So I think we're about done, right? I mean, there's not much. Is there any message you want to have for our listeners? Now that another year has gone by, and since we started the show and all that, anything you want to say at all?
I guess it's not all bad. Beer is good. I was listening to Ralph Nader's podcast today, and he was making a big deal about the divest or impeach kind of project. So depending on what you believe, and I don't necessarily, obviously I wear my politics on my sleeve and everybody knows where I stand, but it doesn't really matter what your politics are. There is a constitutional amendment that makes it very clear that it's illegal for someone who holds an elected office, who works for a public, is a public figure for the United States of America, to use that job and that title to benefit themselves financially. So I'm not saying that I definitely 100% support let's impeach President Trump, but let's definitely say, hey, you can't openly be investing and make it very clear that, these companies, these other countries can be used to leverage your opinion making on behalf of the United States. So we should make it very clear to, President-elect Trump that either he needs to divest himself from his financial situation or he needs to step down from the office. So I would say go out there and look for that movement, sign the petitions on moveon.org. Because again, I don't care where your political leanings are. I think, there's not a lot of people who are okay with the idea of having a president who is openly breaking and going against the Constitution and doing something that's just not constitutionally allowed. So that would be my only real message there. Otherwise, there is about 9 hours of podcast with me and Quentin talking about our top wrestlers of 2016 over on the Pro Wrestling Only feed. It's under the Psychology is Dead banner. It is 3 parts. It is, again, as I said, almost 9 hours long. It's phenomenal takes on both ends from both of us talking about our list of 50 Each of us only had 50 wrestlers. It took us 9 hours to talk about all of them. There was some crossover, so we literally are talking about less than 100 wrestlers for 9 hours. So if you are into that and you want to get into, kind of everything that we talk about there, I definitely say go check that out. And then the only other thing is, everything else that I do will always be linked over at Twitter on Twitter at Lucha Undead.
The most amazing thing about what you just said is I don't know if it's the fact that Ralph Nader has a podcast or that you did 9 hours worth of content. That's insane to me. Both things are insane to me. What's Ralph Nader's podcast called? I'm curious now.
Like the Ralph Nader Radio Hour.
Where does he lean? Where does he is he?
He is
left.
Very,
right?
very liberal.
Super. I never really knew much about him, honestly. Like I'd always heard the name, but I never really knew what his political stances were, and it's interesting because I went to a book signing one time in Arizona when I was still living there, when I was going to school there, and I was going to a book signing for a different author, but Ralph Nader was the author that was on before him, and I was like, oh, check it out, Ralph Nader's here. So that's cool. All right, well, so definitely check out Tim's work on his other wrestling shows, like on the PTBN network as well. Of course, you do This Week in Wrestling. I believe that's your flagship show, right? Is that?
Yeah, that's kind of the biggest show that I'm doing over there.
Yeah, I should probably know that, right? Check that out. And as far as what I want to plug, of course, check out I restarted my Story Germ podcast at Story Germ. Follow me on Twitter. Check it out on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm doing just sort of weekly sort of audio blog / stories of stuff that's kind of relevant in culture and in the news and in the media and whatnot in a way. Obviously, I did a crossover episode for this show, which was our Birthed Brewing episode. That was the sort of kickoff show that I did. And yeah, so I'm really excited about bringing that back. And you were on a recent episode, Tim, I believe, which was really fun to have you on there.
It was.
Probably have you on there again. And yeah, so follow me at Del Boots on Twitter. And I don't really have much of a message to say for the end of the year, but I do want to say, Tim, do you, for one last time for 2016, do you want to take us out for our famous 3Bs saying?
Yes. Even in the new year, 2017, some things never change. And that is the importance of the 3Bs, Adrian. Good beers, good buds, and good banter. Have a good new year, everybody.